She's a queen. Ooh, ooh, what a natural beauty. No need no makeup to be a cutie. She's a queen. She's a queen. And when they ask what a good woman's made of, she's not afraid and ashamed of who she is. She's royal, yeah, so royal. And I need her in my life. I never knew anyone so one of a kind until the night that I seen her rise. My queen, so supreme. I can see it in her eyes, the way she smiles. Hey, yes I know the king and queen crown, see I'm tired, so I never leave your side. Just stick with me through the trial time.
Something about you, girl, and I don't think it's just your smile. I don't know how to say it now. I've been thinking for a while. The best way to say it, woman, your energy is right, yeah. Before I hold you in my arms, I wanna hold you in my heart. Before we share our love upon that bed, I wanna place this crown upon your head, woman. Girl, you're my queen, majesty. You are my queen, majesty. Don't you know you are my queen, majesty? Oh, you are my queen, majesty. Queen of the jungle, you are the lioness. Other feel in a grumble, but they're always trying your best. So when the whole world a crumble, your lion is alright. Before I hold you close, just before I hold you close, oh girl, I wanna let you know that when all is done and all is said, you deserve that crown upon your head, woman. I said, queen, don't you know you are my queen, baby? Majesty, yes, you know you are, majesty. You are my queen, baby, majesty. You know? So hear me now, when me say Cleopatra, Queen of Sheba, Nefertiti, are you are your feature? Empress, man in a beautiful creature. You summarize every queen of the East seas out. Every night crawler and gully creeper. I mean I know about no Mona Lisa, and but me know Venus and Serena, undisputed Queen Amiga. To the river bank, come the river bank skin girl. All good you know, no problem girl. Kill a body of physique, shot them. Kill a body of physique, shot them. Straight greens, don't visit Agpen. And the majesty, I hit a mad them. All bout I make it up and I sing your anthem, girl. Cross my heart, and my pledge from when I want Queen Star, all my love song them non-stop. I want Queen Star, all my love song them from top. And I want Queen Star, all my love song them ease out.
Good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural staging of the UWI Intergenerational Women's Mentorship Program. Wow, I'm so excited. I know that you all are so excited as well. We must apologize for the late start, but I won't keep you waiting any longer. I'm now going to invite the UWI Guild President, Mr. Sujay Boswell, to do the welcome. Mr. Boswell, over to you.
Good evening and welcome to the inaugural staging of the UWI Women's Intergenerational Mentorship Program. The program, I must say, is one that is special to me. In the campaign period, we would have been speaking to students and consulting young men on the campus, and something that they said and highlighted that was lacking was programs that would have been geared towards mentorship, particularly for women on campus. And so we, the team and I, a very able team through Ms. Cherise Benjamin, our coordinator, and Ms. Chanel Allen, the other program coordinator, as well as my advisor on gender affairs, Ms. Chantal Artwell. They really designed and they have done the research. They would have reached out to different mentors. They would have launched and highlighted the program on the campus and reached out to students to be a part of the program. And so today is very, very special to me. And I want to highlight and acknowledge them and thank them for the great service that they've been doing so far. And I know that this program will be successful and that the young women of the Mona campus will be very, very beneficial to them. And so I want to thank our mentors who have decided to be a part of this program. I know that there are about 148 between mentors and mentees that will be participating in this program. And so for your service and for your time and dedication and commitment that you will display throughout this program, I want to say thank you. I want to acknowledge Mr. Dwayne Haynes, the president of the UWI Alumni Association for the Mona chapter. I'd like to acknowledge Ms. Karina Dice, our guest who will be leading our training session this afternoon, our conversation rather, with our mentors. I also want to acknowledge our panelists, Ms. Lanika Rudin and Ms. Stacia Morris. And of course, I have made mention as well to our program coordinators, Ms. Cherise Benjamin and Ms. Chanel Allen. So, ladies, as you embark on this journey of mentorship, I want you to just listen and to take advice and as best as possible to apply advice you get from this program to your own daily life and towards your own development. This program is here for you, and so we'll be learning and giving recommendations as we go forward to ensure that this program can be a sustainable one on the campus. Thank you again for signing up. Mentors, thank you again for your service and all the best on this journey. UWI Mentorship Program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Boswell. This is truly a wonderful initiative. Initiatives geared towards young ladies' development. That is certainly something for us all to get behind. Now, I'm going to invite Ms. Cherise Benjamin to share with us the overview of the mentorship program and the agreement. Ms. Benjamin?
Good evening, mentors, mentees, guests, and members of the audience. I am Cherise Benjamin, one of the program coordinators for the UWI Guild Intergenerational Women's Mentorship Program. I would like to invite our other mentor, our other program coordinator, Ms. Chanel Allen, who unfortunately was not able to join us physically, to turn on her camera so that everyone may know who she is. The mentorship program is certainly an opportunity that many students who have questioned their futures in their fields of choice have definitely dreamed of. For mentors, I imagine that they're excited to have the opportunity to share knowledge and help someone to be in a better position to survive life after university. I also imagine that it would truly be a rewarding experience to make a significantly positive impact on someone else's life. The mentorship program was conceptualized by our UWI Guild President, Mr. Sujay Boswell, in hopes of fulfilling his goal in his tenure as Guild President to empower women among our student body. The theme for the program and this evening's launch is molding young women into the phenomenal women of tomorrow. The mentorship program, which officially starts today and is slated to end on June 30 of 2021, pairs a young woman of the UWI Mona campus with a professional woman that practices in the same field or similar field studied by the student. With this program, we hope that mentors will inform mentees of the joys of working in a certain field, figuring out how to best succeed in that field, and to even figure out if that field is meant for them. We hope that a good bond is developed, one where the hard truths and joyous moments of life after university and the working world will be shared. In some fields within the workplace, there are more hindrances than in others owing to gender discrimination, and we do encourage mentors to make mentees aware of this possibility and to give suggestions on how to deal with this. Every mentor and mentee will have something different to bring to the relationship, and we do hope that what is shared with each other is beneficial to both of you. We hope that after the program, you will continue in your relationship as mentor and mentee. The program does not simply aim to create an opportunity for pairing mentors and mentees, but we also aim to provide workshops that will help to foster a healthy mentor-mentee relationship. The coordinators of the program, myself and Ms. Shanil Allen, crafted the mentorship program in our best efforts of what we imagine the ideal conditions for a successful mentor-mentee relationship would be. And we hope that both mentors and mentees will take the agreement in mind and use it as a minimum basis on which to base your relationship. Some of these ideal conditions include a minimum time frame and frequency, because we know that sometimes we become overwhelmed and forget some of the various commitments that we have made. Mentors and mentees are free to discuss what they please, but we ask you that you keep in mind that we should treat each other well, respect each other, and be fair in what you ask of each other. In dealing with issues that may surface between each other, it is always important to clearly and respectfully communicate the problem that you have. Sometimes, when we find ourselves on the wrong page with someone, it is best to find a time that you can both listen and understand each other clearly. If you find that the problem has not yet been resolved, we encourage you to speak with us, the mentorship program coordinators, in resolving the issue. At the end of the mentorship program, we, the coordinators of the program, would love to hear from you about your experience with this program, especially the experience you have had with each other. We will facilitate this through the distribution of an evaluation form at the end of the program. From the UWI Mona Guild Intergenerational Women's Mentorship Program team, we hope that you enjoy the experience that you will have with your new mentor and mentees, and that you will achieve the goals that you have set out together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Benjamin, for that overview of the mentorship program. It was very clear, and I'm sure it's getting persons even more excited for the program. I'm going to now invite Rashid White to engage us in song. He'll be singing Underdog by Alicia Keys.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to dedicate this song to all our young ladies who are in the mentorship program and those further extension all over the world and on our Mona campus. She was walking in the street of the notice. He was nameless, he was homeless. She asked him his name and told him what hers was. He gave her a story about life with a glint in his eye and the corner of a smile. One conversation, a single moment, the things that change us if we notice when we look up. Sometimes they say, I will never make it. I was built to break the mold. The only dream you should be chasing is your own. So I sing a song for the hustler trading at the bus stop. Single mother waiting on the check to come. Young teachers, student doctors, women on the front line knowing they don't get to run. This goes out to the underdogs. Keep on keeping at what you love. You'll find that someday soon enough you rise up, yeah. She was riding in a taxi back to the kitchen, talking to the driver about his wife and his children on the run from a country where they put you in prison for being a woman and speaking your mind. She looked in his eyes in the mirror as he smiled. One conversation, a single moment, the things that change us if we notice when we look up. Sometimes they say I will never make it, but I was built to break the mold. The only dream you should be chasing is your own. So I sing a song for the hustlers trading at the bus stop. Single mothers waiting on the check to come. Young teachers, student doctors, women on the front line knowing they don't get to run. This goes out to the underdogs. Keep on keeping at what you love. You'll find that someday soon enough. Rise up, yeah. Everybody rise up. You gotta rise, yeah. Yeah. I sing a song for the hustlers, single mothers. You're gonna make it, yeah. This goes out to the underdogs. Keep on keeping at what you love. You'll find that someday soon enough you rise up, yeah. Oh.
Wow, thank you so much for that. That was so beautiful, and I'm sure everyone else agrees. Now, the theme for the mentorship program is molding young ladies into the phenomenal women of tomorrow. What does that mean? Well, the mentorship program aims to give female university students extra support towards navigating their academic or professional path and how to survive in the career world after university. So you may know what you want to do, you might be confused, you might have an idea. It's always nice to have that added support to help us reimagine the possibilities within ourselves and to see potential you probably didn't see in yourself before. The support is greatly needed by many university students because it is great to be on a path to getting a degree. But sometimes we do not know what to do to really guide our path in making the best out of the academic experience and then later to the job searching process. The best persons to assisting in preparing for one's future are persons who have already been through the process, who can help in molding young women into the phenomenal women of tomorrow. Now, we are going to have a panel discussion and it's going to be pretty engaging. You're going to get the chance to ask your questions. But before that, I'm going to invite Dea Gordon to introduce Miss Stacia Morris and Rashawn Robinson to introduce Miss Lenika Roden, and then we'll get into the panel discussion. So, Miss Dea Gordon, floor is yours.
Okay. Stacia Morris is the author of Teen Money 101 and founder of Your Money Track. She holds a post-MBA certificate in accounting, an MBA from Pace University, New York, and a BA from the University of the West Indies, where she was a college track star. Morris also holds financial and insurance certifications and currently works as a financial advisor. Her diverse professional background includes global leasing, finance, consulting, information technology, strategy, business intelligence, and complex project management for Fortune 500 companies. Ms. Morris spent the majority of her corporate career at IBM Corporation in a variety of roles. Her work and travels to the Latin American countries are among her most favorite IBM experiences. She credits her zeal for education to her late father, Stanley McLean Morris, who was a school principal and veteran educator in the West Indies. Her interest in writing and teaching comes from a desire to pass on her father's legacy of education as a form of empowerment. Her passions are speaking, teaching, and inspiring people through financial education. Her overall goal is to help people have the very best quality of life. She does this by encouraging ongoing education and money management with businesses, churches, and nonprofit organizations, retirees, college, and adult groups, and teenagers. Civic duties have long been a part of her mission to give back. Her volunteer activities have included classroom teaching and career day lectures for junior achievement, lectures for the Women's Business Development Center, alumni speaking engagements for her alma mater, Pace University, treasurer of the board of directors at the Greenwich Teaching for Literacy Volunteers of America, the George Washington Carver Center, her church, many organizations, and many mentoring opportunities over the years. Morris believes that teaching is a perpetual gift to others, that education directly improves quality of life. Among the civic honors and recognition that she has received are from the Connecticut legislature for her work with youth, the Brooklyn Borough President for Financial Literacy Education, and Pace University as a Pace legend, as the first Pace University alumni to speak at a Pace University commencement. Ms. Morris is a popular keynote speaker here. Her book, Teen Money ABC Here and Now program. She has been a featured speaker at the 100-year anniversary of the Girls High School and the 2007 University of the West Indies recognition of graduates in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Ms. Morris has used her experiences at successfully reinventing herself, continually made relevant in the marketplace to develop a highly impactful personal, professional coaching methodology for executives, professionals, pre-retirees, and retirees. She currently resides in Connecticut, USA, where she continues to write, teach, speak, and travel within the US and internationally to share her passions. Thank you.
Okay, I had previously said that Rashawn Robinson will be introducing Miss Lanika Roden, but that person is not here right now. So instead, Miss Tamar Campbell will be introducing Miss Lanika Roden. So Tamar Campbell, floor is yours.
Hi, good afternoon. I hope everyone can hear me well. And it is my pleasure to introduce Miss Lanika Roden. Roden is an experienced educator, project manager, environmental philosophy candidate in UWI Mona. Wow, that is a mouthful. She holds an honors of bachelor's degree. Rather, she holds an honors of Bachelor of Science degree in marine biology and international relations, and has extensive certification in project management. She has contributed significantly to the areas of youth development, environmental sustainability, vitalization of the blue economy, and renewable energy. For her work in helping to promote the role of STEM in development and science education in Jamaica, she has been named one of the youngest members of the Organization for Women in Science in the Developing World. Lenica is also the executive director of eBiomi, a scientific research consultancy which helps to promote and transform the role of STEM in Jamaica. The company was named a finalist in the Vincent Hosang Venture Capital competition in 2019 and has operations not only in Jamaica, but also in Trinidad and Tobago. This is the wonderful Miss Lenica Roden.
Thank you both for those introductions of our panelists. Now, time to get into, the exciting part, the engaging part. So I will be asking both panelists, Miss Stacia Morris and Miss Lenica Roden, questions. And then afterwards, you here will be able to ask them questions of your own as well. So let's get into it. So my first question is for Miss Stacia Morris. What does it mean to you to be a mentor?
So before I answer that question, Savannah, I want everybody to raise their hands, tap their shoulders, and yeah, for women. And I live in the US, and I want to congratulate all the Jamaicans, all the West Indians there on our first Black woman vice president elect in the US. So I want to get that over with. We need to congratulate ourselves. We are proud, proud, proud. And I believe in women being proud and quality of life. So you asked me, what does it mean to be a mentor? Also, I want to thank the UWI. I want to thank everybody for inviting me to this podium today, to this panel. Love to talk, love to give back, love to share my experience. What it means to be a mentor for me. I grew up in a household with a father who was a headmaster, a mother who was a nurse. And if you think of a small community where the headmaster is like the little mayor of the town, and he constantly gave back. And then my mom was the nurse, so she constantly gave back. So I grew up with parents who always gave back. So for me, at one time, I was very selfish when I got to the US to get up to speed at IBM, and I forgot other people until it became very, very evident to me one day. I was at work, climbing the corporate ladder at IBM, and people were saying hello to my next door neighbor in her office. And they brought in candles and they brought in balloons and cake. And what happened? This woman had been out for 2 weeks. She was in the hospital. She sat right next to me, and I did not know. So that opened me up to, there's a world out there. Let's go back to my parents' legacy. Let's touch and feel people. So I'd always done community work, teaching people to read and write, etc. But I'd never done the mentorship where you sit with somebody and you help to develop them. So after that experience of seeing where I was missing out on giving back, for me, mentorship means availability, being available for somebody, helping that person to grow. It also means continuity, confidentiality, be a good listener. I have 6 siblings, and I think we all fight each other. We used to fight each other to be heard at home. If you have a lot of siblings, you'd understand what that is. I was never a good listener until I learned to be a good listener. And as I said, I want to continue my parents' legacy, because it's by giving up and by growing the next person that you get this sense of satisfaction. Yes, I've done something. Yes, something is going to survive after I pass away. So that's what being a good mentor means to me.
Well, thank you so much for that. I really did appreciate that perspective of yours of what being a mentor means to you. Now, Mr. Nika Roden, we'd like to hear from you. The same question. What does being a mentor mean to you?
All right, thank you so much. I hope you guys are hearing me. So to me, being a mentor means being given first the opportunity to learn from somebody who is younger than you, to give you a new perspective on life, and also to provide guidance to someone who might be on a very amazing path. So mentors are not only for people who haven't figured out where they want to go as yet. But mentors can be for people who have exceptional leadership potential and they just need somebody to provide them with a little bit of guidance, especially when it comes on to being a mentor for it as it regards to professional development, personal development. I know for me, growing up throughout high school, I've had to pave the way in most cases. So I've had to become best friends with Google, and that's where I found out about a number of opportunities that I was able to be a part of. And so being a mentor now, I'm able to say to my mentee, hey, you can check out this website for X, Y, and Z opportunities. You can sign up on edX to do courses, depending on what it is that my mentee would like to achieve in life. And that again brings me to the next point. It's about, as Miss Morris said, being a good listener. So as a mentor, you have to be patient. You have to learn to listen to your mentee. It's not about what you want for your mentee. Yes, you want the best, but you have to listen to what it is that this person wants for their life. What if being in the professional world isn't really what they want? They want to be a creative other than being a corporate person. So you want to listen and be able to provide the right guidance. You being a scientist don't necessarily mean that your mentee have to be a scientist too. Maybe your mentee wants to be in entertainment, or maybe they want to do the creative part of science. So being a mentor means that you get to connect. So you get to connect them to the right people. So you might not necessarily be able to guide that person in the field of entertainment and the creative industry because that's just not you. But you might know one or two persons who you might be able to connect that person with. So yeah, being a mentor, it's an amazing opportunity. And I think the last point is responsibility. Being a mentor, you have to be responsible. You're responsible for yourself. You have to ensure that you're representing, because your mentee needs to be proud of the person that they look up to, that they call a mentor. And I'm not going to listen to somebody who is not living what it is that they're preaching. So it comes with a lot of responsibility. And I'm grateful for this opportunity because I think just like for my mentee, it will keep them in line. It will keep them in line as much as it will keep me in line.
Oh, another great perspective. That is truly something that we all can learn from. I just want to say that I'm extremely proud of all the women here who have decided to be mentors. No matter what it means to you to be a mentor, it's really great to give back to someone. I myself spearhead a mentorship program in my faculty, and it's really just a satisfaction of giving back to someone and helping someone, even if you can't relate to them in that specific field, as Miss Lenika Roden had said. Now, my next question, and Mr. Nika Roden, I'd like you to answer this first. What was your first experience like being a mentor or a mentee?
All right, I can answer both. So when I was in high school, I had the opportunity to meet someone who's very prominent in Jamaica, Mr. Leighton McKnight, my first mentor. He does accounting, so very much different. I'm a natural sciences type of girl, and he's an accountant. But what I learned from that experience is, even though we had different paths in mind, yes, he had very good advice when it comes on to being patient, waiting until the time is right before you make certain decisions. Because as a young person, I was very passionate. I don't know, like if the world would have permitted me, I would have been on Mars already, because I just love to go after things. I'm a go-getter. I don't like to hear the word no. And so Mr. McKnight was that person to tell me the no's that I needed to hear. And it's weird coming from a mentor, but sometimes you need to be grounded, especially when you have school and other responsibilities to tend to. You can't overextend yourself because then you might fail at school, and failing at school at such a young age is not the path that you want to go down. It's a whole, I mean, it's much difficult to get on that road, or to get back on that road of growth, and once you fall off the education road, right? And so being a mentee for me, I learned to be patient. I learned that it's not every time that your mentor will say yes, and it's not every time you're going to like the person either. So I just accepted that, but you have to trust the process. And I learned that. I learned about trusting the process. I learned about trusting their leadership. When you look at where it is that this person is in life, it's because of the morals and the way in which they were able to navigate their journey. And they would have run into some stoplights along the way, and they don't want you to run into those same stoplights. So they're telling you from the get-go, go left, go right, instead of following whichever path that you were following. In terms of being a mentor, my experience being a mentor, it has been a great one thus far. My mentees, boy, I don't know. I try to be like their best friend so that they can tell me everything. And sometimes when I see them growing and achieving so much, oh my God, I wish I was their age again, because boy, you know, just to see that they've even adapted to seeking out opportunities. So rather than me finding opportunities for them and sending it to them, they're finding their own opportunities, they're setting their own path, they're trailing their own light. And it's amazing to see that little person just full of life and just start to fire up. And all they do is ask you for, what do you think? Do you think I should do this next week or that? You know, it's just amazing. It's more like being a consultant to somebody who is already developed and running their own race and all of these things. So you watch from a distance, you appreciate the process, you appreciate the fact that they value your advice and guidance, and you don't take it for granted.
Oh, thank you for that. I can especially relate to the whole trusting process. That is definitely a major factor in the mentor-mentee relationship. Now, Ms. Stacia Morris, the same question for you. What was your first experience like being either a mentor, a mentee, or both?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you that I really did not have a mentor as such. I grew up in, and I can tell the generational difference between myself and Benika. When I grew up, your mentor was your parents, really. There was not this kind. And then I came to the US where I work for IBM. And when we get down to other questions, I'll tell you some of that experience. So having a mentor, as the way we think of mentors today, I never really had one. But I tell you about a short-term experience I had with a lady who I call my mentor today. When I left the Caribbean, I was about leaving the Caribbean to come to the US. I wanted to go to Pace Uni. No, I didn't know where I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to do accounting. And I ran into a lady in the Barbados airport. And we were stuck, if you know, going over, I don't know if you guys know the smaller Caribbean islands, but to get to St. Vincent from the US, it's sure. When you get to Barbados, you may not be able to get over to St. Vincent the same day because of the crosswinds at the airport. We have a new airport now. But anyhow, at that time, I was stuck in Barbados for 3 days. And this lady's kids came and played with me. And she looked like a regular tourist. So she came and she apologized for the kids playing with me. And she said she was going to take them to see their grandparents. And like, grandparents? She's a white woman, and we don't have that many white people in St. Vincent that she's taking them to grandparents. Got to find out that she was one of the descendants of the old planter class. So she was taking them to see the grandparents. We got to St. Vincent, but we got to chat. And she asked me what I planned to do. Planned to go to the US. I was living in the Bahamas then. She was at NYU doing a PhD in business. She kept up with me and sent me and helped me to decide which school to go to. She helped me to decide to go to Pace University. And then while I was in the Bahamas, I'm getting packages from Pace, New York and Pace, Pleasantville. Never heard about Pleasantville. Later, I found out she sent me packages and she got her ex-husband to send me packages still. And net of it, I came to the US, came to Pace, and here's another way she helped me. I had saved enough money for 18 months of living and my finances to go do my MBA in accounting. I got here, that MBA was 2 years. I didn't realize that as a US resident, I could borrow money to go to school. I could get school loans. That probably was a good thing. So, but this lady helped me to decide that I should do computer information systems first, do that MBA. You get quickly hired, which I was. I was hired by IBM before the program was done. So that lady really helped me to navigate my path from the Caribbean with a lot of unknowns. Because I'm from a tiny island. I really don't want to go hang out in New York City. So finally, I went to the smaller campus in Pleasantville. So she helped me before I got here to navigate which college I got here. And when I got here, she helped me to navigate which major. And she continued to be a force in my life for that period of time. When I got to IBM, that was another story. This lady she was a professor. She actually was a professor in Barbados for UWI at K-Field. And so we transitioned, but we're still friends today. So when I look at having a mentor besides my parents, this lady was my first mentor. Now, when I look at me being a mentor, I have mentored so many people that I have not a clue when my first experience was. But as we go along talking, I'm going to tell you guys about one of my best experiences.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Morris. That was really a very compelling story. And I know that a lot of us, we might not have official mentors per se, but there are so many persons in our life that we can say this person was probably the closest to, guiding me on the right path. So I definitely think that's really relatable. Now, my next question is, well, a mentor or mentee relationship works best when what is present? So you're both going to give me a factor that aids in a really great mentor-mentee relationship. So either of you can go first, either Miss Stacey Morris or Miss Anika Rudin.
Okay, I'll go first. All right. I would say if we are supposed to choose one thing that should be present, is trust.
Oh God, that was my word.
Oh, well, hey, high five. Let's do a virtual high five. Yeah, without trust, I'm glad because we're on the same path.
It is trust.
Without trust, I have turned away people who have come to me for help because of the trust factor. That would get me to say no immediately.
Yeah, and if your mentee don't trust you when you tell them to do something, they're going to do something else, and that's just going to be the relationship going forward. They come to you for advice and they do what they had in their minds before, So I need a mentee who will trust when I say no, they will understand that the no is for a reason and it's for a good reason, and I'm leading you to a path of greatness. But it seems that it seems weird that I'm saying no at this time, but yeah, have to trust the mentor to guide you.
Thank you, ladies. I definitely agree with that. Trust was also what I was thinking in my head, believe it or not. Now, my next question, and Miss Roden, you can answer this first. Why is it important for young women today to have mentors?
Interesting question. So young women today, I think that there are a lot of things that women need to learn, unlearn, relearn. Like there's so many things surrounding how a woman is brought up, especially today, in this day and age, there's so many factors that act against women in society that they need to be guided by a woman who has overcome certain things, who would be able to guide them, a strong woman, that is, of course, to help them to realize that, you know, even though these factors are acting against us, where it is that we're seeing mostly males at the head of the corporate world. I'm not seeing it as much in Jamaica. I must admit that I'm really grateful for the strides, and Miss Morris made mention of it earlier when she mentioned Miss Kamala, her success on being the first female vice president. You know, so I'm seeing the strides that women are making. However, there are certain industries, like even in the science field, where women are still hidden in the background. So women need guidance. Women need to be told that, you know, hey, you can shine. And I remember being a part of a webinar just recently, and I learned a new term called the imposter syndrome. And this imposter syndrome is something that a lot of women suffer from. So we're given leadership positions, we're given various appointments, we're promoted in our various fields and sectors, but we feel as if we weren't deserving of this. We feel as if a man enters the room, or another woman who we might deem to be more experienced, or maybe she's just more popular than you, you feel as if you aren't supposed to be here, and that's the imposter syndrome. And so you need the guidance, you need to be reassured every day. And this is why women, we need to stick together. And you know, I realize the importance of including men as well, because I realize that we've been focusing a lot on woman empowerment and the men are sometimes being left out. So just understand that I am for a balance. But I feel as if young women just come together more and empower each other, and you have that sisterhood thing going and working for you, then you're able to navigate the world better. You're able to accomplish and reap more fruits.
Okay,
So,
thank you so much for that. I want to say, on a personal level, that imposter syndrome thing that you spoke about, I know that that's something that a lot of women have to deal with. So I really appreciate you mentioning that. Myself, I deal with that as well. Miss Stacia Morris.
so I can pick up on a
Why?
lot of stuff that Lanika just said. So let me say, let me pick up on the stuff first, then I give you some other things I want to talk about. That imposter syndrome, I lived it at IBM, but I did not behave like an imposter. I came from a British brash background. Black woman, spoke funny. I did not apologize for that. And because of that, a lot of people didn't know how to handle me, particularly white men, because they were shocked that I just didn't apologize for being myself. But no, I grew up grounded with the parents I grew up with. And my nephew would tell you today that I dropped him to school for 8 years, and he would tell you he knew which mood I was in based on the songs and the hymns I played on my way to church, to work every day. So I lived it. So I'm glad you brought that up, Lanika. The other thing I want to talk about, why women need mentors. Women need mentors because 70% of women are gonna, at some point in their life, be in charge of their own finances. And here I branch into the finance thing, because we need to bring up women who can be financially well. It's one of my last speeches for the St. Vincent Independence. We need to help women to be financially well, because they are gonna take over and they're gonna live longer than their husbands if you're married. And like you say, Lanika, I don't only talk to women alone, I talk to men too. Men are tough. Guys are tough to mentor. I have a couple good stories with my mentorship with guys, but my majority of mentors and mentees have been women. And Savannah, I don't know if you'd give me some latitude here, but I told Sharice I wanted to tell a story about somebody I mentored, and she thought this might be a good place. This was a woman. So do I have the latitude to talk about this lady?
Yes,
Okay.
Miss, no problem.
Okay. So, and this young lady is she's Jamaican. She's given me permission to tell her story because she is my star mentee, and this will tell you why women need to be mentored. I met this lady after I had done the whole IBM thing. So I have gotten over being the only Black woman, the only woman in the room. I've gotten over all of that stuff. So I met her at the company I was at, and she was a Yukon intern looking for an intern job to finish her degree. And when I met with her, she was financing her schooling. She was in charge of her younger sisters at home. She was doing 3 part-time jobs. And I said, this young woman needed help. So I offered her the internship. And I also said, if you come work for me, I want to mentor you. It wasn't tied together. She can have the internship, but I like to mentor her. And she was just so hungry for somebody to be interested in her. She said yes. I also told her at the end of the internship, if I had a job opening, I was going to offer it to her, but she had to be the best of everything. And everybody had to want her to be on the team. In between this time, one day she came to work dressed like the other white young girls on the team. She came dressed in a long, slinky summer dress. And I called her in and I said, how am I dressed? And she told me I had on khaki skirt, white top, and a blazer. And I said, how are you dressed? She was dressed as if she was going to the beach. So I asked her if I can bring her some clothes because my siblings had clothes at my house, and I took her clothes. But I mentored that young lady up to today, and it has been like a 20-year relationship. And she has moved from that company into IBM, into Pepsi, to People's Bank, back to Pepsi. She is a database administrator for the web. She makes a 6-figure salary. She has a very lovely home, and she also has a nice young son. But that has been my story of mentoring this lady. And I just want to say that mentoring her has broken 2 generational problems. She broke the generational poverty vicious circle that her family had been in. And she also broke the societal problems of having multiple children with multiple fathers. And everything I have taught her, she has taught her aunt, she has taught her siblings, she has taught her cousins. So this is as I said, this is my success story. Mentoring somebody, and she has been a good person. She listened to me. But whenever we had a decision to make, I gave her the facts. We did pros and cons, but she made the decisions because she had to live with the decisions. So that's my story in a nutshell, 20 years in a nutshell.
Wow, you sure do. You have stories. The stories that you have, they're really compelling. Thank you for that, Miss Morris. Okay, what are some important lessons that you have learned as a mentor? So I'm going to ask Miss Lenika Roden to answer this first. What are some important lessons that you have learned as a mentor? You can possibly give us 3 or so.
Okay, so I would have mentioned them before, and that would be the fact that your mentee, they are their own person. So you are just there to provide guidance. At the end of the day, they'll make their own decision. They will have their own opinions. They know what they want from life. They know what they want to achieve at the end of the day. And you as a mentor have to understand that. And that's what you're there to help them to do. You're not there to help them to be what you want them to be, but to help them to be just a better version of perhaps what they envision for themselves. So that would be 1. 2, I believe that being present as a mentor is very important. And I believe this because, being a mentor to your mentee, you have to let your mentee know that you're there. Your mentee can message you and then you're responding like 2 weeks later after the whole fact. So you have to be there to guide them. So whether it is that you want to set up every 2 weeks, we have a phone call, or Every week, we check in via email, whichever mode of communication that you would have established with your mentee or mentor. That is very important, and it's important that you stick to it. And lastly, I would say one of the biggest lessons that I would have learned being a mentor is that you have to continue to grow, you as the mentor. So you're guiding somebody and you can't be stagnant. You can't be like, oh, I reach already, that's fine. Like that's not the mentality of a mentor. You have to continuously be growing, be achieving new things. Your mentee should be looking and seeing you're still being talked about in the news for something good, and be like, oh my God, that's my mentor, or whichever, you guys cheerleading type of thing going on, you cheering your mentee and your mentee cheering you on. So you're on that path of continuous growth and development, whether it be personal growth or professional growth. You might be at the helm of your professional career, because when you get to a certain place in life, you will eventually be at the helm. But personally, you might want to work on certain things. Maybe you want to travel the world. I mean, traveling the world is great. It adds to your personal growth. You get to learn about new cultures and all of those things. Once you've mastered this thing, move on to the next thing and, expose your mentee to the world that you've now been exposed.
Well, thank you so much for that. The communication aspect of your answer, that really resonated with me. And I always say, no matter what stage you're at in life, there's always room for growth. So thank you for that. Ms. Stacia Morris, the same question for you. What are some important that you have learned as a mentor?
So I seem to be echoing a lot of what Lanika said, but I believe in continuous learning. And if you guys, I spoke to UWI recently on the topic of ready, set, reinvent. So I'm always reinventing myself. So what have I done during the pandemic? And like you say, you have to make sure that your mentees see that you're not static. You are moving, and hey, with technology today, you can do anything. So what have I done during the pandemic? I have learned how to take my book, Teen Money 101, and make it digital, put it on a digital platform. I've learned how to, I'm going to be doing podcasting soon. So I've learned how to record myself and edit my recording. And so I've learned a lot of stuff. And I recently spoke to my star mentee, and she has a laptop that's not working, and she wants to bring it to me so that I can get back into the guts of it, because I just did that for a sibling. So you're continuously learning. What I have learned, because I mentor so many people, I've learned to say no. I've learned how to meet with somebody, have the first meeting with them. If that person has no passion and don't know why they get up in the morning, I can't spark a passion there. So I quickly would do a first evaluation, and then every mentee is not for me. So I've learned, I did a formal mentorship program with Pace University. A lady, she was very rude. I am not rude. I don't deal with people who are rude. You're rude, you're gone. So I have learned to quickly net and say, but on the other hand, there could be synergies. I have a young guy who wants to develop an app. I have another one who's buying houses and dabbling in real estate. So I can deal with a lot of people, but if you're into the arts like music and singing and so, I don't even think I can connect you. I think I'm a good connector, like Lanika said, but I don't think I can connect you. So I quickly have learned how to net. And as a result of speaking, and Cherise would like to hear this, as a result of speaking to UWI recently, about a couple of weeks ago, I've picked up 5 mentees. So I'm talking to people in Jamaica and Trinidad. Those were the ones who picked me up and say, would you talk to me? And I've done the initial discussion. So schedule, I treat it professionally, but the one big thing I want to mention here, that's a fine line, when you say what has they taught you, or what has it taught you? You can't be your mentee's friend, and you can't get into their personal life. So it's a fine line and a difficult line as to where do you say, I don't like that guy, or that girl or whatever. It's a fine line. But the main thing I've learned is how to quickly say no.
Oh, thank you for that, Ms. Dacia Morris. Now, the last question from me, and then we'll take some questions from our audience. Would you attribute or say that having a mentor contributed to your professional success?
And that is for me first, or Nika?
You can answer first, yes.
Oh, okay. I would say a big no. I would say no, it's a negative, but it turned positive. So if I want to tell you three things. When I was growing up at IBM, you remember last night that Kamala Harris said she doesn't want to be the only one. She wants other people to follow her. At IBM at that time, all the Black women felt that they should be the only one. So I had some managers who sent me to meet a lady who they think potentially can hire me. And she told me that my level where I was at IBM, lots of people retired at that level. And I was in my 30s, and she told me that. So, and then I had another one who told me point blank that there were not a lot of white men who wanted to adopt me. She was adopted, she had a sponsor. And then I met another one who she just didn't care. But so those were the negatives. But after those three people, I said I had to be the best mentor that any young person can have. And I want people to come to me because they can see that I would help them and not run away from them. While I work for IBM, seriously, and this sounds bad, but if I saw a Black manager coming towards me, I would literally, Black woman manager, I would run, seriously. But I wanted to attract people. So I became better because of that, those three negatives. So they did not help my career. One thing I want to say that helped my career, and I haven't used the word intentional, every time I got promoted at IBM, I asked for the next job description. So, and I made sure I checked it off, make sure I met with my manager once a month at least, and say, okay, this is done after 12 months, I asked for the next level. So my movement throughout my career has been on Stacia and my God and my parents' influence and being intentional, not mentors. But I think today, as I sit here, I think I'm a heck of a good mentor because of not having one.
And I really like that those negatives really turned into positives. I like how ironic that is to the story. I really love that. Now, Mr. Roden, same question for you as usual. Would you attribute or say that having a mentor contributed to your professional success?
Okay, so for me, I think that having a mentor really did. Mentors in my life, all the mentors that I've had, they have helped me a lot. I'm not from one of those families with a golden spoon. And when I look at where I am now, it is really because of my mentors taking the time out to guide me. I remember when I wanted to even select what program I'm going to be doing at the university, because I had a lot of different interests. I was interested in geo, I was interested in bio, I was interested in international relations, everything, psychology. I was interested in every single program. Only what I didn't do, that's like probably medicine. I wasn't interested in medicine. I don't know, because I don't like blood. But every other thing, even engineering, and I didn't do physics, but I loved engineering, just the sound of it. And I feel like engineers contribute to development, and that's what I wanted to do. So my mentor realized that I had split interests. So they organized a little counseling session for me with a counselor here at UWI. And I came up here, and so, my mentors for me in my life, they've always, in a sense, paved the way. They've always guided me. They've always provided the guidance that I needed, the advice that I needed. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of them. I don't even know. Well, I even got one the other day. I got a mentor the other day, and I got the mentor through another mentor. So it might sound weird, but I'm a scientist, and the director of Mona Geoinformatics Dr. Paris Luai. So I asked him to be a mentor because, you know, he was a Commonwealth scholar. He studied at the University of Oxford, and I'm in love with Oxford and all of these things. So, and we have similar interests. We had a phone conversation, we had the initial talk, and I found that, you know, wow, I'm passionate about the same things, and he really loved what I was doing. But of course, he is more mature in terms of his professional career than I am. And so I asked for mentorship, and he said to me that, you know, I'm going to match you with somebody who I believe is more aligned to the things that you're doing. So he's a geographer, and he matched me with an environmentalist. I'm an environmental scientist, a marine biologist to be more specific. And so I met with my mentor just recently, just about last week. And so we decided on which way the way that we're going to go about this mentorship. And essentially it has been beneficial already because I'm now a member of the Jamaica Environment. I don't know the name of the organization as yet, but it's a professional organization for environmentalists in Jamaica. And to be a member of that organization at such a young age is a big deal. So, and these are the things that mentors have been doing for me in my life. And these are the things that I do for my mentees. I expose them to different things. I allow them to join the different organizations that they need to join. And of course, she's not going to pull my foot and say, hey, make sure you talk up in the meetings when we have meetings, you know, make sure you have a presence. No, I need to know that she already gave me the dude. She should already tell me, all right, this is where you need to position yourself. I now need to ensure that I am going to utilize that platform to the best of my abilities and take advantage of all opportunities that are presented to me. And my mentors have done that for me in life. And you know, I would not be where I am without them, because I never, half of the things I never know. I never even know like what a resident advisor do. And I'm now a resident advisor at Rex, living here at UWI, free of cost, which is nice. But of course, you get to mentor the other young students that come in, and you learn a lot from the experience. Yes, you get the perks, but you learn so much and you grow from it, you know. And I can just imagine 10 years from now, when I look back, oh God, being a mentor, I think I have to be strength, you know, yeah, and Miss Morris, I think you can agree with me. We have to be strong when we get those messages from our mentees to say thanks, because sometimes the thank yous are so deep.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because what I have in front of me is a card from my mentee, my star, and she's going to tell me exactly what you just said. She said, Stacia, thank you very much for all your guidance and mentorship over the years. I am certain I would not be who or where I am today without your guidance or selfless generosity. Thank you. And I have the name. So I'm really glad that throughout your life, you had somebody that, and when I was asked to do this, I went hunting for this card. I got it around 2017 and I kept it and I found it. And I'm like, great, I found it. So it just wraps up what you just said, which really talks, Savannah, of the need for women to have mentors. Yeah.
Yes, I think we ended on a great note.
Yeah, I think so too. Yes.
A great note. No, I've been questioning you guys. So enough of me. Ladies joining me or participants joining me, please pose your questions. What would you like to ask Miss Stacia Morris or Miss Lenika Roden? Don't be shy. Well, I'm going to assume that I guess my questions pretty much covered everything that they wanted to know. This would end our panel discussion, but before I end, Ms. Stacia Morris and Ms. Anika Roden, is there any closing statement that you'd like to leave with us as young women, a part of this mentorship program?
Yes, I always love to talk. I love the flow. So I want women to realize, as I just said before, that 70% of them are going to be taking care of their own finances sometime at some point in their life. And the UN just came out with some statistics which said that, again, about 90% of women do not know finances or do not take care of their financial wellness. So you're going to be left alone sometime. You need to know, and you need to set a base wherever you are as soon as you start. For example, I talked about my star mentee. She has a lovely house above a lake in Danbury area, and she's nearly finished paying off for her house. She has a healthy retirement account. And she started, and I love to think that my influence in helping her, she started as soon as she came out, because she grew up very, very, very poor. And she's great. She has a great job. And she also is very intentional to break the generational poverty. So everybody I meet, everybody I mentor is take care of your finances at whatever stage you are at. Take care of your finances, because if you don't take care of your finances now, you'd be left and you still have to take care of them, and you might not be able to understand. So understand right now. And there's a lot of resource everywhere too. So everybody I mentor, I send them their income statement and their balance sheet, and I send them a budget spreadsheet, and I said, hey, work on this. So because it's up to me as a mentor to make sure that we continue to be able to afford ourselves. So that's would be. And learn a lot from your mentors, suck up a lot. This world has everything you want to know about. Read a lot. I mean, I read at the expense of my sleep, but you have one life, make the best of it, go get it. Get up and go. That's what I say. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Miss Morris. Before I hand over to Miss Roden to, close off, just a comment from Caroline Ferguson Arnold. She said she really did enjoy the discussion. I'm happy to hear that. Oh, there's a question for both the ladies. Okay, just holding for that question. We'll just hand over to Miss Roden for her statement, and then I'll pose that question to both ladies. So, Miss Roden.
Okay, so I just want to say to all the mentees who are a part of the program to take advantage of the resources that you have. Be open to, there's this term, coachable. Ensure that you're coachable. I know that coachable people are them make it through life. Like, honestly, I really them, because they listen to people, they take notes, and it's those two things are so crucial, especially when you look at life's journey. You will not know it all. Don't ever think that at any stage of your life that you've made it and that you know it all and nobody else can talk to you because you that. Just ensure that you are open to opportunity. Even though you want to do this, you want to be that, be open to greater things being poured into you. Seek more opportunities online. Miss Morris said that. And just the last point, and that's the same point that I started with, to take advantage of it. Too many times I've seen people being presented with amazing opportunities that people would kill for. People all over the world would kill to have a mentor who would guide them and give them the keys, the secrets or the keys to success, So just really and truly take advantage of those opportunities and ask for what it is that you want. Don't be afraid. I've asked a lot of people for things, and even now I'm still asking questions because I'm young and I want to do so much, and just ask. Feel free to ask, and as long as you have good intentions, and ensure that and don't think that any question is stupid. Just ensure that you do the research before, and don't ask Google the stuff. Like, I don't know if you guys know about those things, but sometimes people will come to you and they ask you something like, when you look at the question, you're like, are they asking me to Google this for them? You don't want to ask somebody a question like that.
Thank you, Ms. Roden. No, well, there's 2 questions in the chat. So the first question comes from Carolyn Ferguson Arnold, and it's for both of you. She's asking, do you find that you have to reach out to other persons who are mentors like yourself for information and advice in order to help your mentees?
It depends on the field. I'm pretty open, and if I don't know, I'll be very open and say I don't know, but I can find it. There's nothing I can make this blanket statement. There's nothing you can ask me for that I would not know somebody or be able to find out somebody. It's the 6 degrees of separation. You would know somebody, or I have 6 siblings and they know lots of people and they're in different fields. So I have the legal field, the marketing field, the medical field, you name it. And so people can come to me and I'll be able to help them find the answers. And I reach out to other people. There are lots of people, there are lots of groups of mentors who would get together and share information. And especially when I work with PACE mentoring organization, they had just a lot of resources.
Yeah, and even though it's not a written requirement to be a mentor, I think that mentors are well-connected people, so they have a large, expansive network. Mm-hmm. So, and we will not know everything. So there are times, and there'll always be times when we have to ask people for advice or for information so that we can provide that guidance for our mentee, especially if it is our mentee is in a different field from what we are accustomed to. But we want to provide them with the best information. So we will go to the experts. Oh, Savannah, you're still muted.
Thank you for that. The next question comes from Janelle, and I don't want to butcher her last name. It's for you, Ms. Roden, and she's asking, well, you spoke about imposter syndrome, and she says she does indeed believe it's real. Her question is, how does a mentor go about guiding a mentee with imposter syndrome?
Thank you for that question. So basically, it's all about ensuring that your mentee believes in themselves, because the imposter syndrome is all about their confidence level and them being able to understand that what they contribute is just as significant as anybody's contribution. So it's just to get them to understand the role, the purpose that they play in whichever area that they're in, and for them to believe in their true potential, their purpose. And because remember, the imposter syndrome is about you thinking that, oh, I'm here, but I might not be qualified to be here. You're questioning whether it is that people are looking on and wonder if his friend give you this promotion or whichever. And so I feel like having a session with your mentee is important. Different sessions, maybe like even a vision boarding session where you're looking at where it is that you want to be and stuff like that. Anything that can build their confidence, help them to speak positivity into their lives, because really the imposter syndrome is all about putting negative thoughts in their head. And sometimes in the middle of the day, it will hit them, especially if it is that they're in a meeting, they're given a task. And you know, the imposter syndrome is so powerful that you might be the most qualified in your company to get the position. You got the position, and the first task that you were given, you end up screwing it up because you believe that somebody else was more qualified, and you're thinking in your head that this person is looking at you and saying, you know, say she never did forget the position they do because she's not as qualified. And so these thoughts, these words that you're replaying in your head, they're causing you to fail at what you need to be succeeding at. So you need to teach your mentor how to block out the noise, how to focus and refine their purpose, how to surround themselves, change their environment. And that's, I think, though those things will help them to kind of get over the imposter syndrome. It's a process, because I feel like even women at the helm of their professions, they go through it too. You know, they can be very strong women, very successful women, but these are things that they have to deal with on a daily basis, on a day-to-day basis. And so it's so important for you to build confidence, for you to build presence, for you to surround yourselves with positive words, and just to reinforce to yourself, say to yourself that you got this, you are it, you can do this, you can handle it. You were given this position for a purpose.
So I'd like to add to what you just said, Lenika. I haven't lived it, as I told you guys when I was at IBM. I lived it on a daily basis because I was the only Black woman with like 10 white guys on my team. The other thing you need to tell your mentee is to be prepared. If you have time, be prepared. I have had I give you an example. I sat in a meeting one day at IBM Credit Corp, and they talked about floating municipal bonds. I had not a clue how to float municipal bonds. I sat at the edge of that meeting, and by the next day, I knew how to float. You know why? I stopped in at the Greenwich Library on my way home. I got the book on municipal bonds, and I actually went home and went through all the top processes of floating a municipal bond. And then I lucked out. The guy who had written the book lived in Greenwich, and his son went to the same school as my nephew. So I called him up, and he gave me a quick tutorial. And the next day, I knew the process. So you have to be ready to educate yourself if you have time. Sometimes you don't have time and you get hit like a bolt of lightning, but if you have time, prepare yourself and educate yourself. So that's my contribution. Savannah, you're still muted.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions coming in right now. So we are going to hand over to Mr. Joshua Page to engage us with an item. Mr. Page.
Hi, good day, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, am I being heard, Savannah?
Yes, we're hearing you.
All right, lovely. Okay, so I am just going to share this song with you. I do hope that it's a source of inspiration to all the ladies out there. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. You're broken down and tired, living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't fight the fighter. But I see it in you, and we go walk it out and move mountains. We go walk it out and move mountains. And I rise like the day, I rise up, I rise unafraid, I rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I rise up high like the waves, I rise up in spite of the ache, I rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you. When the silence isn't quiet and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying, but I promise you will take the world to its feet and move mountains. Bring the world to its feet and move move mountains, and we rise up. We rise like the day. We rise up. We rise unafraid. We rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you. All we need is hope. And for that we have each other. We have each other. Oh, we will rise, we will rise, we will rise, we will rise, yeah, we will rise. So let's rise up, rise like the waves rise up. In spite of the ache, let's rise up. Let's do it 1,000 times again. Let's rise up, high like the waves. Let's rise up, in spite of the ache. Let's rise up, and let's do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, yeah, for you, for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Page. Now I'm going to invite Therese Benjamin to do the vote of thanks.
This launch would not have been possible without the assistance we received from numerous persons and entities. Firstly, we would like to thank Mr. CJ Boswell, the UWI Mona Guild President, for conceptualizing this well-needed mentorship program. Next, we would like to thank our sponsor, the UWI Alumni Association Jamaica Chapter, especially Mr. Dwayne Haynes, the president of the association, and Ms. Karina Dice, the campus alumni officer. They showed their generosity by lending us the UWI Alumni House to air our program, provided the beautiful furnishings used for the launch, and secured one of our panelists. Thank you to Ms. Janelle Small, the law representative of the UWI Mona Guild, UWI Mona lecturer, Professor Lloyd Waller, and the UWI Mona Guild Public Relations representatives, which consist of Mr. Kiefer Desnos, Mr. Shamar Hamilton, Mr. Keenan Clark, and Mr. Niall Anderson. They made it possible to connect with you virtually, acquiring and assembling the necessary equipment and monitoring the stream. Thank you to our panelists, Ms. Lanika Rodin and Ms. Stacia Morris, for facilitating our questions on their experience in a mentor-mentee relationship. We extend our hearty gratitude to Mr. Rashid White and Mr. Joshua Page for gracing us with their wonderful voices. We thoroughly enjoyed every moment. I would like to most of all thank my team for helping to make the program and launch a reality. Our team, which consists of our moderator for this evening, Ms. Savannah McDonald, our presenters, Ms. Thea Gordon, Ms. Kamoy Campbell, and Ms. Gabrielle Perkins. And last but not least, Ms. Shaniel Allen, for leading along with me in planning and executing this mentorship program. Additionally, for advising mentees on how to best appreciate the guidance given by their mentors in their mentee mini seminar session, which will be shown later on. Last but not least, to our mentors and mentees. Without you, there would be no mentorship program and certainly no launch. Thank you for agreeing to take part in this program and for taking time to be with us this evening. The efforts made by all were truly a blessing. And for that, thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Benjamin. Mentees, those of you who are on YouTube right now, you're being asked to join the Zoom as we're going to have our breakout session shortly. So I'll just repeat that those of you who are mentees and you're joining us on YouTube, please just join the Zoom because we're going to have our breakout session shortly.